I think a couple of them are still on their way, Jeremy and you guys. Sure. Obviously, just very disappointed in the selection committee's decision not to let us in. I think that's obvious. Um, I felt like the statements I made last night after the game, and then going back and watching the film, I stand by those. I mean, that's a team. If you're picking the top 24 teams in the country and you want it to be the best 24 teams, then we're one of those teams. I think that um, when you talk to the teams in our league that have played us, they believe that. The coaches in our league that vote for the top 25 in the coaches poll sent me a message and voted us 10th and said that we've played you and played everybody else. And so I think that's the respect that this team has across the country with coaches. But when you leave it up to a committee and maybe some ADs that maybe don't know who we are, I think that's what we ran into. I don't think that the entire country has the respect for Saluki football, and maybe it was just too late as far as making that run. But when you schedule a schedule like we did with two FBS teams, our first four out of five on the road, we scheduled two, one OVC team that's in the playoffs that won 9 games, the co-champion in SEMO, and the other in UT Martin that won 7 FCS games. That's our non-conference schedule. It's two FBS schools and two playoff caliber OVC teams to get ourselves ready. And then you play in the Missouri Valley Conference, which everybody is pretty much understands is the best conference in the country. And when you do that and you win 7 games, everybody else has got in. Since 2013, I got a reporter just called and told me once they've expanded it to 24 teams, anybody that's won 7 games has gotten in. Illinois State and Northern Iowa both have gotten in at times with 6 wins in an 11-game season. So one of the criteria is if you win an FBS game, that should matter. It obviously didn't. But like I told our team that we're going to respond this way, like we teach our guys to respond in every situation, and that's with class. We can be mad, we can be disappointed, which we all are. A lot of emotions. My thoughts are with those seniors that have given so much to this program. I'd like to see them out there playing and keeping on playing, but we don't, and we can't make excuses for that. And so my thoughts quickly just turn to those players and just to what of appreciation I have for them, a love I have for them. And when we look back, I truly believe when we look at this program that we'll look and see that these guys changed the face of Saluki football, just like classes before did, like we talked about in 2003 and 2004. And those guys, I think that this class will look back upon and say they got this thing going again. And so they have a lot to be proud of. I don't think that they feel that right now and shouldn't, but like I said, in a couple of weeks when we get back together, they're going to have a lot to look back on. But right now, it's just a sense of disappointment.
Why do you think you didn't get in?
I really don't. I know. I mean, like everybody geography. Whenever all those games started coming up, that doesn't make any sense. I heard the chair put out a statement this morning and talk about the games and keeping it within 400 miles and keeping teams without flying, and you got teams flying all over the country in the first round. So, and that was this morning when he put that out. So I don't get that. There's plenty of Austin P and SEMO and Illinois State and all these teams. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why we didn't get in. I mean, the people that cover it for a living and put their heart and soul into covering it the entire year, all told me that we were in. And 2 of them didn't even have us on the bubble. And so when that happens, then I don't know why we didn't get in.
This Kenesaw's 2 D2 wins, if they get in, does that bother you? Which takes them, they're 10-2.
Right. I guess we just need to look at schedule and in the non-conference. It obviously isn't weighted that much. As far as the the type of opponents that you schedule. It's just all about number of wins. You know, they play 2 lower level opponents. So we played 2 FBS schools. We beat one. We had the other one on the ropes all the way until the last snap of the game. You know, that's a bowl team. So if they're talking about Kennesaw playing Kent State, who's not a bowl team, close. Well, we played Arkansas State close, and they're going to win 8 games. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything against Kennesaw State either, you know, or any of these teams. I think anytime you watch a selection show, there's disappointed teams, and you know, so I don't know.
The chair said on TV that you had it was asked about your FBS win. He said, "Well, we left the other team that had an FBS win. Were you surprised it didn't have more pull?"
Yeah, again, I wish it had more pull. You know, it's one of those things. I mean, when you leave it up to other people. That's what I told our team. In life or anything, if you put your happiness in relying on other people, you're going to get disappointed a lot of times. And so, I don't know what they're talking about in there. You got 10 guys that get around a room, and you know, obviously, my thing is if you know football, you're watching football, and you're truly watching games. Maybe the quality of what, you know, their knowledge of football. Maybe they're not a football person, or maybe they don't have a background in football. But if you're truly watching the film, you're watching the game, not just watching the scores, or you don't get the stat sheet afterwards and you look at this or that, but you're watching the game, the competitiveness of the game. They talk about maybe calling other teams, call their teams in our league and see what they think about Southern Illinois, and I think they would say they deserve to be in.
You know, Mike asked you about the scheduling. I mean, are you more inclined to schedule the easiest opponent you can beat rather than trying to prepare your team the best you can?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it's you know, you should be rewarded for that, not for losing, but for, you know, our league is tough enough. You know, you're going to get quality games, ranked opponents up and down our league. So, you know, ultimately, you know, the week 1 loss against SEMO is probably the toughest loss on our schedule. They're a 9-win team, OVC champions. We don't have a bad loss on the schedule, and some of these teams that are getting in are losing to non-playoff teams. I mean, every loss on our schedule is either to an FBS school that's a bowl team or a team that's in the playoffs.
I overheard the selection committee chairman say, talking about Southern Illinois, 0-4 against the field, and 0 and lost to the other 2 teams that you were tied with for 3rd place. Of those, you ended up tied for 3rd in the league, but lost to the other 2. Are those legit reasons in your mind to keep you out?
Well, they you know, I watched the same chairman and those guys talk about, like, it's not about how many teams in the league, or it doesn't matter. It's getting the best 24 teams in. You know, if there's 7 teams in a conference that deserve to get in, then that's not any of the criteria that they look at is how many teams in the league. It's just picking the best teams. And so if we're picking the best teams, then I feel like we should be in there. Well, I'm not making any excuses. We got beat by some teams that we felt like, you know, we're right there with. We didn't win on those Saturdays. And so ultimately that's what, if we would have won one more of those games, we'd be in, you know. And looking back on that, we got to take care of business against Illinois State at home. We didn't. And so those games, I don't have any excuses for those games. We've never sat up here and made an excuse, and we're not going to make any excuses now. And so, but ultimately, I think that they say they watch games, they see who's playing at the best. I've talked about that. You know, 2 of our best players and 2 of the best Salukis of all time, we went into the first 2 conference games without. So South Dakota State and Illinois State were healthy, and we played without them. And then since then, you know, we're 5-1 and played North Dakota State as close as anybody has all season. So, but that's the way it goes.
What did you try to tell your seniors? You know, as reward is kind of putting the program back on the map.
Yeah, and just in a short team meeting, there's not a lot to tell them right then with the emotions. Just that I'm proud of them, and that they know that, and that I love them, and that I appreciate really everything that they've given I told him that the night before on Friday night, is that as a coach, you really just can't say enough for when people just do everything and a lot of times don't get a lot of credit, you know. And for the coach, they go out there and they're the ones getting up early and they sacrifice and they play and they put everything out on the line. And so I'm just appreciative to them. And so we'll have a lot of time to talk about that, probably in that team meeting right there with the emotions high. Isn't the best time, but we'll have our own individual meetings. We'll have a banquet, and we'll be able to show them their appreciation to this program. I did tell them that, like I open it up, is that we'll look back in this class and the commitment that they had. We'll always look back upon, and guys for years to come will remember when these guys did this and the run that they went on to keep this program going. All right.
Who got screwed? Let's
I
cut
think-
right to it.
I think Coach Hill covered that pretty well, but absolutely, I feel like if you're going to pick the top 24 teams to be in the playoffs, I absolutely think we deserve to be in that conversation.
Did you sit down to watch it thinking we're in?
Yeah,
Thinking we weren't?
I believe 100%. Even I've been up since 4:30 this morning, you know, just thinking that all that hard work's paid off, you know, being a fifth year. So, but it is what it is.
Just how disappointing was it, Cody? The team was, I mean, they're the last team out, literally the last team out. That's what the committee says, but here you are, and your season, your career is over. Just how disappointing is it to end like this?
Yeah, really just obviously it's disappointing, but just thinking about how close that this team was, like being a family, and just the thought of the 2019 Salukis will never be in that team room all together at the same time again. Really just that's what hits home with me, and you know, strapping it up with Jeremy Chin and DJ Davis, you know, those are my brothers, and I love them, and it's just the thought of never getting to do that again when we thought this wasn't the end of the road. It's tough.
What is the message that you give to the younger class?
I think this team, we set the standard this year, and we got SIU football back on track as far as just how to work, what to do on and off the field, and I think that they'll pick up right where we left off next season.
So you can just tell us about what happened in the room. I mean, did you guys think you were going to be playing Northern Iowa when they came up, or playing Austin Peay?
I mean, I saw something on Twitter about us playing Austin Peay, but you know, I didn't really believe anything until we saw the real deal. But we obviously didn't make it, so I mean, I don't know.
Mad, surprised, stunned. What's the number one emotion for you? Is it
Everything. I felt like when the video was playing, I just felt like I just been stabbed in my back. Like I was just like I lost breath. I was just like I was so shocked, and all I can do is cry because it was just like only we know as players the amount of work we put in this season. So it's like, you know, those guys are the people who decide that, and those 10 people in that room, they don't know the amount of work we put in to get where we are and where we're going to be. So it's like that's what hurts the most, because only we know the amount of work we put in to have this opportunity to make it to the playoffs and don't make it.
Is it different to be told your season is over when you think it might continue versus you lose and you know it's over?
Yeah, Jacob Martin just said something when we were in the O-line room. He said, if you were to tell me that 7-5 would hurt worse than 2-9, like, I would be lying to myself, but it hurts. And, like last year, we knew we weren't going, but this year it's like, okay, we can do this, we got this. So it's like, it hurts so much worse. It hurts so much worse knowing we were right there, that close, and then make it.
Zeke, just talk about what for next year, what do you like about the guys coming back, and how do you think this would drive you forward for next year?
Leave no doubt. We leave no doubt to anyone else. We know what we have to do to be a playoff team. We can't leave it up to other people because we saw how that turned out. So we got to come back to work and pick right back up where these seniors left off. And that's my job, being my senior year, to get us on track to get where we need to be. Thank you.
Same thing as I asked Z, is it different being told it's over when you think it might continue versus you know it's over after the last game?
Yeah, it's completely different. Like Martin said, or how Z said, 2-9 is much easier to take than going 7-5, and with the belief that you can make a run for it, and then just being told, it's over with.
What would you tell us of your emotions when it was obvious you guys were going to be working to be a playoff team?
When I saw that last school pop up, my heart just dropped. I felt like my heart just shattered, and everything, I came here to turn this program around and make it a playoff team, and it's not something I was able to do, and that we were able to do as, seniors, so it hurts.
Is there some solace that you did put the team back on the map, back in the rankings, and a lot of people had you in the playoffs, so you were a playoff caliber team in a lot of people's eyes?
Yeah, we definitely earned a lot of respect, around the country and around the conference. And I think it's something that, future classes and next year will continue on.
Do you think the younger players, how you react in this setting right now, and more importantly, privately with them going forward, do you think that's important for them to see how you react to this?
Most definitely.
Or what do you want them to know?
It goes by fast. That's the most important thing. But I mean, like when you put in a lot of work towards something and you come up short, it hurts. And so, hopefully, the underclassmen, watching us and how we react, hopefully they understand that. And if you want something, you gotta keep working for it. There's nothing I can do about it now as far as SIU football, but I hope they take this, and I hope it hurts them as well, and it drives them to keep pushing forward.
If they were to say a year or two from now, whatever they accomplish, this means a lot more to me because I saw how Chin suffered,
Yeah.
or Davis suffered. Would that
Exactly.
mean a lot to you if somebody said that in the future?
That'd be huge. That'd be, yeah. Thank you.
Took the news hard.
Oh yeah,
What would you tell us about your emotions?
they are all over right now. I still can't believe it. Like they said, seeing that last team was just devastating. Like devastating.
Does it feel different if you went 3-8, 4-7? Yesterday's game would be it. You know your college career is over. Is it a lot different being told?
Absolutely. But we were playing a lot more than for than just having a senior game. We were playing for having more games after that. You know, it felt totally different. So
Was the reaction more anger than shock, or did the room just go quiet when the selection was over?
the room went quiet. I went quiet. I just stood there and just looked at the TV for about a couple more minutes, like that couldn't have happened just now. Still in shock.
You know, were you surprised your FBS win was not enough to pull you up in your strength of schedule? In their eyes, was not enough to get you in.
Absolutely. The FBS win and wins in the conference and wins outside the conference as well. It was a little shock. And like Coach Hill said, who we lost to an FBS team, and we lost to other teams that are in the playoffs. So I would have thought that would have been enough for us to get in.
What do you want from the younger players to take from your guys' hurt?
I want them to use it as motivation, and honestly, like I told the running back room, like if going toe-to-toe with the number one team in the country don't give you motivation for this off season, I don't know what will. And you see that the seniors hurt, and that we wish that we could have had those more games coming up. And I just told them use it as motivation, and that they can be great, really.
Are there some good feelings that you put the team back on the map in some ways this year?
Of course.
Despite all the
Oh yeah,
adversity you guys had this year?
absolutely. Shoot, like Chan said, we came here trying to turn the program around, and that didn't happen first year, second year, third year, and then we come in the fourth year, and we get to 2-4, and everybody, like the outsiders around, just saying, "Oh, another Southern year, just losing and stuff like that." But us seniors and everybody else on the team, we got together and we came even closer. Like we went on that winning streak, and so I feel like we did enough to turn this program around. That's why these younger guys got a lot to look forward to.
What do you want people to remember about you playing your music?
Man, somebody who give them their all on the field, off the field, practice, games, whatever. Somebody that give them their all, and if they need me, they know they got me right here.